going to go to Paul Watson now to break this down. Paul, I took 2 weeks to analyze this, to watch it. I knew Soros was involved, but I still knew the Fed was trying to get in there. We were trying to point out the real problem. I've confirmed now that anybody talking about liberty or wearing an Obama Joker shirt is told, hit the door, hit the bricks, buddy, hit the street. They're now chop rich people's heads off. In capitalism, there is no doubt this is banker-financed French Revolution. This is not 1776. This is the opposite, my friend. And that's why I'm making the big announcement. And folks, if you want to beat the communists that are banker-run, you better go to every Federal Reserve station this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And don't wait for orders from headquarters. They end the Fed up in Dallas. Great people. Just be there 6 o'clock Friday. In the Fed, Houston. Be there in Houston, high noon, Saturday. 10 a.m. Sunday at the Federal Reserve in San Antonio. Or have it whenever you want. Just be there. I'll promote it. Email us the events. We need nationwide to call the media, local media, make them cover it. Talk radio. This is who's doing it. This is who's cheating us. This is who teams up with the government. This is the problem. Paul Watson, I'm telling you, it really hit me. This is it. But when it really happens, you're dumbfounded for a moment. This is the bankers trying to trigger, like judo, and use all the anger we're throwing at them and turn it around and bring in total collectivism to fully wipe out their competition and fully get us dependent. I mean, they're making their big move. Worldwide revolution. The mainstream horror media is calling this American revolution. They're dubbing it, saying it's great. That's your big telltale sign why demonizing in the Fed and sickened secret police on us. Well, I mean, it's on, Watson. It's on.
Well, Alex, the big dirty secret behind this Occupy Wall Street event, which is not to say that there are a lot of well-meaning people involved in it, but once again, they've been conned, is the fact that the Occupy Wall Street tax proposal, the one that they're all out in the street advocating, is backed by Wall Street itself. You can go on the Occupy Wall Street official website, what they're calling the official website, and one of their demands is for the Obama administration through Congress to, quote, pass the Buffett rule on fair taxation so the rich pay their fair share. And that demand is posted on their own website. The only problem with that is the Buffett tax rule is the one that the Obama administration itself bought and paid for by Wall Street. 2008 Obama campaign, Goldman Sachs over $1 million donation, JP Morgan over $800,000. Again in 2012, Obama's campaign is even more reliant on Wall Street funding. Of course, his entire cabinet is made up largely of people who made their living, made their reputation on the back of Wall Street. The Obama administration completely Wall Street owned. And what do we read out of Bloomberg News just a couple of days ago? Quote, no differences exist between the Obama administration and billionaire investor Warren Buffett on the principles of a White House tax proposal that bears his name, Jay Carney, President Barack Obama's spokesman, told Bloomberg just a couple of days ago. So we've got this so-called fair tax proposal being promoted by Warren Buffett and the Obama administration, which is completely bought and paid for by Wall Street. So why is it also being advocated by so-called anti-Wall Street protesters?
Well, that's the incredible brazenness of the chutzpah, or just the bravado, the hubris, where the mega banks, the same ones that have hijacked the U.S., are openly in Europe saying democracy's wrong in Germany. We're going to get rid of even more of the pension funds that the Germans have been forced to pay into. We're going to slash the social safety net, which they paid into. Socialism, they took their money, and it's got to all go to the bankers to, quote, prop up the too big to fail. You've got to pull up the BBC. Remember 6 months ago, Paul, where it was a headline, head of Irish Central Bank says it's good Ireland now run by foreign banks. And they went overnight from being the fastest growing, best positioned, lowest debt to just, oh, you signed on to the euro, you're bankrupt now. You just signed on to our derivatives. I mean, Iceland is the only country to effectively beat it. So far, and the fight's still on. I saw in the news today. The Icelanders figured it out and said, this debt isn't ours, and forced an audit and found out that 92% wasn't their debt. And they said, go ahead and sue us, British Crown. Go ahead and sue us, Bank of England. Go ahead and sue us, EU. Your bankers owe this money. We're going to arrest the banker heads, the finance minister. And the finance minister left the country. It's same thing, 90+% of the Irish. The money's not owed by them or the government. 90+% here, 90+%. It's the same actuary. And it's so naked that they're on, I mean, when you see ABC News, Time Magazine, Newsweek, Warren Buffett on every channel, every week, saying it's not right that I don't pay any taxes. We need to pass my rule that raises it on people making $125,000 a year. And then these hippies send me emails going, if you think middle class is $125,000, you're crazy. We do need to take their money. You idiots. You could take all the domestic rich people's money in the U.S. It would amount to $2 trillion. It wouldn't run the country for one stinking year. And then all the wealth's gone. The people that come to your hotels, that go to your restaurants, that go to your golf courses, that get their nails done. I mean, you don't understand the globalists do. They want a post-industrial, post-consumerist world. Is the consumer thing wrong? Has it gone too far? Yeah, but that's not freedom. That's just people getting decadent on the cheap credit of the beginning of the Ponzi scheme 12 years ago when they sucked us into it, and the globalists using Madison Avenue to get us to sell out for baubles. But then it isn't like communism is some new wonderful thing. We need to get back to self-sufficiency, local sustainability, true free market, true decision-making. And you notice, under Obama, raiding the Amish, raiding people selling tomatoes, raiding people with gardens, it's on. Agenda 21, global corporate domination, shutting down farms and ranches. I mean, Paul, the magnitude. I knew Soros was involved. I went and looked it up. I watched the groups leading it with their Democrat mindless chants. The vapid eyes, like, it's time to take the money from the rich, behead them, the one percenters. I knew in the Fed was there trying to divide, and hey, it's the Federal Reserve, it's not capitalism that's bad. But you watch CNN, MSNBC, Paul, it's all capitalism did this, capitalism did this, capitalism. No, we got away from capitalism more and more in 1913. We have a mega private central bank running things. It's in control. It's robbing and looting everything openly. I mean, the Federal Reserve, what 6 months ago came out and said, the CFR came out and recommended a VAT and a sales tax and a carbon tax to pay our debt to them. And then they got a gaggle of idiots in the streets, and then they send me emails lecturing me how I work for Wall Street. I don't own one stinking stock. I don't have any Wall Street sponsors. I'm 100% sponsored by my listeners. I'm against tyranny. I'm against unfair monopoly groups, mafias running our world, and you stupid so-called liberals make me want to throw up. Your insane ignorance, and you moron mainline Republicans, you make me want to vomit on you as well. When all of your chief whores, all of them, every stinking one of them is pushing new taxes to pay off what we owe. And I'm sorry, Paul, but you've got all the links in your articles where the whole thing is Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. Bill Gates' dad is in this 1% movie, a film by Jamie Johnson, where the rich kid comes out against the corruption of the elite, and he blames free market for it. No, most of these families made their money in sweetheart deals with government contracts with my tax money. This isn't some defector from the ultra-rich. This is a top-level ultra-rich person doing what Granddaddy did, learning how to con the general public into going into the rat's nest, thinking they're getting out of it. Go ahead, Paul.
Here's a quote, Alex, from the Wall Street Journal. Quote, roughly 90% of the tax filers who would pay more under Mr. Obama's plan, this is the plan being advocated by Occupy Wall Street and Warren Buffett, on millionaires, and 99.99% on billionaires. So again, it's the middle class. It's not Warren Buffett or Wall Street corporations that are going to be hurt most by this Occupy Wall Street solution that they're calling for. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway still owes taxes from 10 years ago. You know, he's the ultimate Wall Street insider, third richest man on the planet. Buffett and most of the top corporations pay virtually no income tax, not because of some law that hasn't passed that's going to decimate the middle class, but because they park their wealth in offshore tax havens. That's why they get to avoid the income tax. So all this crap about 1% is absolute nonsense. This is going to decimate the middle class. And that's why
his own Wells Fargo caught laundering $376 billion in narcotics money in 2 years alone. They paid a $111 million fine on it. That was something like 0.3%. It's like you rob a bank, you pay a $3,000 fine. It is completely asinine. And Paul, we are going up against the Federal Reserve. We're actually going up against a group who came out last week and said they're surveilling the American people. We're actually going up against a group that is completely ruthless and actually hijacked this nation and killed Kennedy when he tried to stop him. If people want to go after the real corporate fascists, the monopoly men, this is it, Paul. This is it. And we're going straight into the belly of the beast, and it's time to have an Occupy the Federal Reserve. What do you think of that?
Well, we're not just cynically dismissing all the Occupy Wall Street people and saying, oh, let's just do nothing. We're offering a real alternative solution that actually targets the focus of the problem. I mean, we had people back in August with the London riots saying we were bad for not supporting a group of thugs, you know, stealing trainers from JD Sports.
And that's meant to make protesters look bad. Stay there, absolutely. The global bankers are hijacking a movement against the bankers through their normal suspects, a bunch of well-meaning commies.